Imagine, for a moment, a time when Earth's climate didn't just warm or cool slowly over centuries, but suddenly went completely haywire.
Yeah.
We're talking about a rapid global freeze that actually reversed a warming trend, plunging the planet into chaos in, well, less than a decade.
Astonishingly fast.
Right. And this wasn't just some cold snap. It caused widespread extinctions and potentially just maybe it wiped out entire civilizations we've, completely forgotten about. That, you see, is the Younger Dryas event. A mysterious and incredibly violent interruption in Earth's history, happening roughly 12,900 to 11,700 years ago.
It's a period that really challenges our basic assumptions about climate stability and even the timeline of human development.
Absolutely. And in this deep dive, our mission today is to unpack this pivotal period. We'll look at the scientific evidence, for its sudden onset and devastating impact.
Right.
And then we'll get into the competing theories about what caused it. But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. We'll examine this fascinating, pretty controversial idea that this wasn't just a climatic hiccup, but a cataclysm, one that erased advanced prehistoric cultures, leaving behind only echoes in myth and like these puzzling archaeological remnants.
Yeah, the myths part is fascinating.
We're going to sift through scientific data, archaeology, ancient myths, try and unearth some really paradigm-shifting stuff for you.
Okay. Get ready to maybe rethink some history.
So let's dive into the event itself. Before the Younger Dryas, Earth was actually warming up, right? The big ice sheets were retreating.
That's correct. Coming out of the last major ice age.
But then around 12,900 years ago, something astonishing happened. What exactly did the Greenland ice core data show? I mean, about the speed and scale of that temperature drop.
Well, the ice core data, it paints this incredibly dramatic picture. It shows a sharp temperature drop of 10 degrees Celsius or possibly even more.
10 degrees C.
Yeah, and this happened in less than a decade.
Wow.
To put that into perspective, it's an unbelievably swift change in geological time. And this sudden cold snap then lasted for about 1,200 years.
10 degrees in under 10 years. I mean, that's almost unfathomable when we talk about climate shifts today happening over, centuries. So what did this mean globally? What were the consequences?
It meant the planet essentially plunged back into a mini ice age, lasting over a millennium. The consequences were truly global. Glaciers started advancing again.
So the ice came back.
Exactly. Megafauna like mammoths, mastodons, saber-toothed cats, they went extinct en masse.
Oh, gone.
Pretty much, yeah. And crucially, human populations like North America's Clovis culture, they just vanished from the archaeological record. Ecosystems everywhere were just thrown into absolute disarray.
It really makes you wonder about the sheer power of these shifts. One moment, giant creatures like mammoths roaming around. The next, they're gone.
It's humbling, really.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
So what could have caused such a dramatic, sudden change? The exact cause is still debated, but there are two dominant theories, right?
That's right, two main contenders.
What's the first one?
The first is the meltwater pulse hypothesis. This theory suggests a massive flood of fresh water, basically from the melting Laurentide ice sheet.
The huge one over North America.
Exactly. That water poured into the North Atlantic Ocean, and this huge influx of fresh, cold water disrupted the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, the AMOC.
Okay, the AMOC, that's that big ocean current, the conveyor belt.
Precisely. It's a vital conveyor belt carrying warm ocean water north. When that circulation got disrupted, or maybe even shut down, it drastically cooled the northern hemisphere. Think of it like, the planet's heating system suddenly breaking down.
Okay, that makes sense for a rapid cooling, especially in the north.
Yeah.
But then there's the other idea, the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. That one sounds, a lot more dramatic.
It definitely is.
It proposes a fragmented comet, or maybe an asteroid, exploded over the North American ice sheets. What's the evidence supporters point to for that?
Well, they point to some pretty specific evidence found at multiple archaeological sites across North America and even into Europe. Things like microscopic spherules.
Little glassy beads.
Yeah, essentially. And nanodiamonds, which form under extreme pressure and heat. Plus, there's this distinct carbon-rich black layer, often called the black mat.
Right, I've heard of that.
All of these things are consistent with a major impact event. The idea is it would have caused massive wildfires, thrown huge amounts of dust into the atmosphere.
Blocking out the sun.
Exactly, leading to a kind of impact winter that collapsed global temperatures.
That's compelling evidence. But, a comet impact on that scale. How do scientists really grapple with the magnitude? Does it fit with other geological markers we'd expect? Is everyone on board?
Well, that's a really crucial point. The evidence is there. The nanodiamonds, the spherules, platinum spikes found in the same layer, these are signatures we do associate with big extraterrestrial impacts. And the widespread nature of that black matte layer suggests enormous fires. The challenge really is synthesizing all this data into one coherent story that fully explains the sudden onset, the 1,200-year duration of the cold, and how it, connects with those ocean current disruptions we talked about.
So it's maybe a combination of factors.
It could be, or one triggering the other. It's still a very active area of research. New findings are constantly refining the picture. It's definitely not fully settled science yet.
Right. Now, here's where this deep dive really starts to maybe turn our understanding of history on its head. Mainstream archaeology, it typically places the rise of complex human civilization after the Younger Dryas, right? Around 10,000 years ago, usually linking it to farming.
Yeah, the standard narrative is agriculture leads to settled life, leads to complexity, all post-Younger Dryas.
But we're going to explore a different angle. What if?
Yeah.
What if there were advanced civilizations that actually came before this cataclysm?
It's a really compelling idea. And think about it, if such civilizations existed, particularly near coasts.
Which seems likely.
Their remnants might have been completely erased, wiped out by the melting glaciers, the massive floods, the rapidly rising sea levels, just the sheer planetary chaos. It certainly challenges that neat linear progression we often assume for human history.
So when we talk about puzzling archaeological stuff, Göbekli Tepe immediately springs to mind. It's this Neolithic site in Turkey, dated just after the Younger Dryas ended, but its sophistication is just remarkable. What makes it such an anomaly?
Göbekli Tepe, it's in modern Turkey, dated to at least 9600 BCE. That's right around 11,600 years ago, just as the climate started warming up again.
Okay.
What's truly striking is its incredible sophistication. We're talking about massive megalithic pillars, huge carved stone circles.
T-shaped pillars, right?
Yes, T-shaped pillars, many tons each, carved with exquisite skill, with symbolic animal reliefs. This complexity completely upends the traditional assumption that this kind of architectural skill only came after people settled down and started farming.
So the key insight isn't just that Göbekli Tepe is old, it's that it shows complex organization, massive construction, intricate art before agriculture really took hold. That basically rewrites chapter 1 of civilization, doesn't it?
It really does. It suggests hunter-gatherers were capable of much more complex social organization and monumental building than previously thought. Or, as some researchers like Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson propose, maybe Göbekli Tepe wasn't built by typical hunter-gatherers starting from scratch. Maybe it was built by survivors.
Survivors of an earlier lost civilization.
Exactly. Or maybe the site itself is a surviving remnant, a kind of message or repository of knowledge from a pre-Younger Dryas culture. Its sudden appearance seeming to burst onto the scene fully formed.
With no obvious local predecessors.
Right. It certainly hints at a forgotten high culture that was largely wiped out. It's like finding a fully functional smartphone in a caveman dwelling. It just doesn't fit the expected timeline.
And it gets even more compelling when you connect it to, well, global flood myths. Almost every culture around the world seems to have a story of a great flood that destroyed a previous age or civilization.
That's true. You've got the Mesopotamian epic of Gilgamesh with Utnapishtim's Ark.
Noah in the Bible.
India's story of Manu and the Satapatha Brahmana, Plato's famous account of Atlantis. The list goes on.
These stories, they're often just dismissed as, allegory or local flood memories. But could they be something more? Could they be distant, fractured memories of the Younger Dryas disaster itself?
It's a fascinating possibility, and the timing with Plato's Atlantis is uncanny. He said it sank 9,000 years before the time of Solon. Solon lived around 600 BCE, so 9,000 years before him is.
Roughly 9,600 BCE, or 11,600 years ago.
Which aligns perfectly with the end of the Younger Dryas and the time of Göbekli Tepe's construction.
The timing is just, Okay, so if there was an advanced coastal civilization before this event, maybe on land that's now underwater on the continental shelves, how would the end of the Younger Dryas have affected them?
Oh, it would have been utter devastation. The melting ice sheets didn't just cause floods inland, they led to rapid sea level rise. We're talking nearly 400 feet, maybe 120 meters, over a relatively short geological period.
400 feet?
Yes. That rise inundated vast tracts of land, especially the kind of low-lying coastal areas where advanced maritime civilizations would likely have flourished. It's easy to imagine entire cities, entire coastal plains just being swallowed by the rising sea, leaving behind almost nothing but perhaps fragmented memories. Myths.
It paints a very different picture of the ancient world. And if we look towards India, with its incredibly deep cultural memory and these vast mythic timelines, it also offers some intriguing clues, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Some Vedic scholars argue that parts of the Rig Veda, one of the oldest Hindu scriptures, might actually predate the Holocene, our current geological epoch that started after the Younger Dryas.
So texts from before 11,700 years ago.
No, potentially. They point to descriptions of geography and perhaps even astronomy that seem to fit an earlier era. It suggests, possibly, an earlier phase of civilization rooted in an already mature knowledge system.
And there's the Sarasvati River, right? Mentioned all through the Vedas as this mighty river.
Exactly, a huge, life-giving river. Geological evidence shows a major river system did exist there during the Pleistocene, the epoch before the Holocene. But it dried up. Its desiccation might well have coincided with the major climate shifts related to the Younger Dryas.
Which really begs the question, could the ancestors of the Harappan civilization, or maybe even earlier Vedic peoples, have faced this very catastrophe? Could some of the submerged ruins found off the coast of India, like near Dwarka or in the Gulf of Kambat, could they be evidence?
It's a definite possibility that warrants serious investigation. Those submerged finds are controversial, their dating is debated, but they hint at coastal settlements far older than previously thought. It suggests, again, a much deeper, more complex human story than our conventional timelines currently allow for. Ancient myths might actually be preserving clues about real geological and archaeological events.
So, wrapping this up, what does it all mean? The Younger Dryas, it seems like it's much more than just a weird climate blip.
Oh, absolutely.
It might be the boundary line between two completely different chapters in human history. One chapter we sort of know through archaeology, and another, older one, potentially erased by catastrophe.
It really serves as this fascinating hinge point where hard science, the ice cores, the impact proxies, meets speculation, meets archaeology, meets mythology. It's where myths might actually transform into potential collective memories.
Yeah. This legacy of the Younger Dryas, it fundamentally challenges our assumptions about the timeline of civilization, doesn't it?
Completely. It forces us to ask some really big questions.
Indeed. Like, what if humanity had reached high levels of organization, architecture, maybe even astronomical knowledge, long before places like Egypt, Sumer, or the Indus Valley rose to prominence? And what if those universal stories of global floods are not just simple allegories? What if they are the broken, fragmented recollections of a lost world? A world swallowed not just by the rising sea, but maybe also by the sheer crushing weight of time.
The Earth remembers, in its rocks and ice, and perhaps, just perhaps, so do we, somewhere deep down in our myths.